Are you a farmer? Then this is for you. Meet the Farmers Virtual Summit taking place from the 25th to the 27th of August 2020. Available on your smartphone, tablet, or computer. Meet the Farmers is a virtual summit and business matchmaking agriculture event where farmers meet their suppliers and buyers. So this is how it works. During the summit, crucial matters affecting our agricultural sector will be discussed in partnership with GRZ and key stakeholders during the plenary and parallel sessions. During the business matchmaking, the event brings farmers from all over the country to meet their suppliers and buyers. Meanwhile, the suppliers and buyers will set up their profiles online to showcase products and services they supply or buy. The farmers are then linked to their suppliers and buyers based on what they farm. They meet online using video link on a one-to-one and one-to-many basis. Register for free now to secure your place on www.meetthefarmerszm.org.
For example, if you are handling your produce and then there's a holding center for your product, it has to be certified that that facility can hold the product because you have to maintain the cold chain. The other challenges we face in addition to that, basically managing the multiple supply chains and the third parties. Because in such a system, you are sort of, you have to make sure your product, the range of the quality of the product you are sending, it has to satisfy the customer. Also on managing the multiple supply chain, you have to make sure all the inputs you need are on time. So that presents a challenge on itself. For example, if I give where we are in Mozambique, we get our services from as far as South Africa and Zimbabwe. Inputs like packaging, seeds, transportation services, some of them we have to outsource because we face barriers. Like, for example, at the moment, we can't use our own transport, Mozambican transport to service bonded cargo out of South Africa. So you are forced to use the South Africa registered companies. So in that itself, it poses that challenge to say we can't provide, even if you want to do in-house logistics, you can't do that because there are certain barriers. You can't export out of South Africa using your own Mozambican registered vehicle because, there is a barrier there in terms of registration of the transportation vehicles. I'll quickly also go through the opportunities that come through. With all these challenges, there are opportunities that come out in terms of contingency plans. For example, the delays that we face in the chain. Right now, we've got now long life packaging, which you can use. It will give the product more shelf life. So that will allow you to send your product far, and it also reaches the customer at a good quality because the technology used for the same packaging can hold the product for longer rather than just using the conventional packaging materials. There are also opportunities in terms of customs clearing procedures, so that we can overcome the delays. For example, the one border stops, that's a very good sort of initiative. It basically cuts down on lost time on the borders when trucks are being cleared So that's some of the things that can be implemented to cut down on transportation times. I can also discuss on effective synchronization between logistics, production, and marketing within the organization itself. For the chain to be sort of flawless, they need to be well coordinated function between those three sections in the organization. Otherwise, it will be a situation, for example, where you've got more product produced without a market, or you have hired a service and then the product is not available. So you have to synchronize all those activities. So there is opportunities there in terms of computer programs which can be used to synchronize. So this calls on for the IT sort of companies to see what programs can be used in terms of forecasting customer demand, and also linking that to production, linking that to logistics service providers. The other opportunity I can cite is efficient delivery times or chains to ensure efficient service levels. A producer or a supplier, they have to understand that their customer ordering cycles, so that they can take the opportunity to fill up orders when required. Once that cycle is known, planning can be made so that you can sell your product when it's profitable. On opportunities as well, I can talk on storage systems. There is need for better storage systems, either within the suppliers themselves or at our port authorities, either in the country authorities, because sometimes, for example, if you have a truck with cold product which is supposed to be kept under cold chain, then it breaks down, you might need to you might run out of diesel, and then you need to connect up to an electricity supply. Then the authorities, they don't provide such services to the truckers when they are passing the borders. So such systems also, they need to be looked at. It's an opportunity for a business that such services can be provided at the port entrances. As a business, we export about 1,000 tons of fresh veg every year. So in that itself, being the product all being under cold chain, there are opportunities for the company and other service providers to provide efficient services for companies like who are in the agro-sector doing fresh produce, either on packaging, providing required, for example, hygiene material, providing seeds which are good varieties. Yeah, so the chain itself, it does present a lot of opportunities for better service to be provided in all those aspects. In conclusion, I would like to say, at this time we are in of the COVID crisis, we have experienced a lot of port congestion. So it's something that can be researched to see in such a situation what needs to be done, because what we have faced is sometimes the non-availabilities of services, basically, or non-availability of transport to ferry your product, simply because there are delays on the borders, or borders are just not working efficiently because of the situation of testing, drivers being tested, and time being wasted, or some borders or port of entries are closed and the ones which are open are congested. So it's an opportunity for businesses to look at what can be done in such a situation to sort of ease the flow of transport providers, so that they can meet the demands of the businesses in the agro sector. I feel a lot can be done. It's actually a learning curve. A lot can be done in terms of providing better and efficient services in such a situation. It's unfortunate. It's a situation we've not experienced, so it's a learning thing. But once we have gone through this, I'm sure we can, between the sector and service providers, we can come up with solutions so that we save our customers better. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I think we can now proceed to any questions and answers. I have my own, but Augustina, do you have any from the other platforms? I don't see anything in the chats. Or
Yes,
should I
please. Not,
pose my own? Hello?
not yet. Not yet. It's time for discussion.
Okay, I don't see anything from the chats. I have a question, and I think I'll pose to everybody who presented. In terms of before, post, pre-COVID, and now, do you think your business has been, in a nutshell, are you making less money than before, or you've managed to innovate and find a way around the issue or the problem of COVID-19? Who wants to go first, Mr. Rebello?
All right, well, maybe we can comment first since we are in retail. So COVID-19, as it played out for us in Zambia, and it's different for us depending on the logistics implication and the local procurement proportion. But in Zambia, we already have a government that imposes restrictions on what product you can and can't bring into country. And we have established ourselves over 20 years in Zambia to deal directly with local growers. And I shared with you the percentages that we buy locally. We literally buy almost all our vegetables, almost 100%. There are a few times of the year when there's no potatoes locally available of decent quality. So we've been shielded in Zambia from border congestion, rising input costs. In that regard, we purchase locally, and that's been the key driver to keep the business sustainable. And then the biggest impact effectively there is, can the customer still afford to shop? Can they still buy? Now, fruit and veg is a commodity that everyone needs to eat and survive, and basic foodstuffs we have seen has increased. And in particular, what we call the COVID top sellers in our industry, there has been a significant move, not only in our game, we've heard it from other retailers, not only in Africa, worldwide, that garlic, ginger, and the full citrus range, that uplifts immunity, has been something that customers have been driven to add to their shopping basket or their diet in some shape or form. So if anything, the industry that we work in due to COVID, restaurants have closed, there's been limited movement, but people have to eat. So they're still driven to the nature of the product, and we have seen a definite uptake in certain of the basic commodities. And as I say, those COVID immunity booster lines have done well, extremely well. But then there's countries where we face huge logistical issues to get produce into country because it's maybe by sea, and devaluation of currency, if I take Angola, if I take Nigeria, and then suddenly the affordability factor of the produce is a problem. So COVID in Zambia, for us being a huge local buyer, we have somewhat been shielded in that regard to all the negatives. It's really whether the customer can or can't afford to shop and has money or income to do that. So, I don't want to say we've done well. I don't want to say we've done bad either. I think the industry in Zambia has been relatively shielded because we are local producers and local buyers.
Thank you very much. Patricia, can you please shed light on the same question? Pre and during COVID, what has been the change in your business in terms of what Mr. Robelo is saying is that it's almost a zero-sum game because most of the supply has been local, and then some of the immunity-boosting garlic, ginger, and citrus products, they seem to be a boost in those type of products. What has been your experience, Patricia?
Yes, comparing the two seasons, pre and post, I can say in terms of overall volume, we've not seen a difference because we are selling many baby corn and chilies, which are in basically fresh vegetables, so which we are now consuming, wanting to stay more healthy. So we've not seen an overall change in volume. What we have seen within the lines we pack, the bulk lines which we're supplying to restaurants and caterers, they are the ones which sort of are reduced because in our market, those facilities were closed down. But we managed to move that volume anyway to the other pre-pack lines. So yeah, I must say in total overall volume has not been a change. Then it has also given us some insight on maybe other lines to work on actually, which we will be trying in the near future. The other things I can mention is what has affected us most are the port congestions, the border congestions, because from here to where we ship out from South Africa, we have to pass through two borders. So that has been a challenge. We had to work around that and maintain our service deliveries. At the initial stage, there were some delays. But as we went in after a month or so, we have sort of ironed out those challenges. And I must say it has been a learning experience. And we had to work within the limitations.
Chris, did you want to comment from your end? Because you deal with relief, so maybe the picture is different from your end, the same question.
Yeah, exactly, Mr. Zulu. I think ours is a different domain altogether. We are into humanitarian, but I wouldn't say that we are immune to the COVID-19 situation, and definitely I would say it has affected us. And I think the effect is similar to what our private sector are just actually indicating, that actually when you look at things, the border situation, because we still actually import small proportions of our food commodities for relief that normally will come through the South African corridor. And definitely, I think during the COVID, that has actually resulted in 2 delays in getting some of those commodities in the country. However, I think on the positive note, what I just wanted to mention, and specifically what we have seen actually work well, and in terms of the scale up, is our aviation services. As WFP actually, we did launch what we call the humanitarian air services. That was specifically a services actually rendered to the humanitarian community in terms of passenger services as well as cargo. So we have done actually, I would say, as we stand now, we've done fairly well in terms of that respect. Yeah, I think that's actually my comment on that.
But maybe the question, are you as WFP experiencing more demand to distribute food, or it stayed about the same because of COVID?
Yes, definitely we are experiencing more demand, but in terms of our country portfolio, and that demand that we have seen is actually in neighboring countries. So as we are doing quite a lot actually into neighboring Zimbabwe. And yeah, so we are likely to see quite a significant volume of food that is expected to move in the next few months. I would actually confirm as we speak, I think in the last 2 months or so, we have done over 20,000 metric tons into Zimbabwe alone. So that is actually the demand.
So, the countries that you deal on a regional level. You're saying Zimbabwe's demand for food has gone up in light of COVID. What about Zambia or countries in the SADC region?
Yeah, so for Zambia mainly, I would actually say it's all linked to our portfolio because our focus now is actually refugees at a local level. So we are doing a lot of support to our refugees in the north, more especially those that are coming from the Congo. And that is normally the usual. So it will not say that there is an increment because it's refugees that are at the camp. So, and other than that, yeah, it's most of the work that we do as supply chain is actually to support the region. So, and this is why I mentioned countries like Zimbabwe actually calling on us to support them in terms of the commodity movement.
Okay, thank you very much. This has been quite interesting. I have more questions, but I'll keep them to myself, and I think I'm mindful that we need to keep the time. So, Augustina, what we can do is I'll ask each ladies and gentlemen who are watching from YouTube and from the Wova app. What I'm going to do is I'll ask each of the presenters, Mr. Rubello, Patricia Mienga, and Chris, to give a 1 or maybe even 40 seconds wrap up. And then after that, I'll hand back the facilitation to Augustina. So I'll start with Mr. Rubello. Your closing remarks, please.
I think in the industry we work in, as fresh produce, all presenters have mentioned the same thing when it comes to challenges, which is the infrastructure cost of refrigeration and the accessibility to markets. So from a supplier point of view, it would be very key for me if I'm putting money into a venture, it would be to understand what I need to produce, how much I need to produce, and when do I need to produce, and who is it going to? Who am I going to be selling to? Without that, you are really operating at a huge amount of risk, and we deal with a product that you cannot store and wait till it's safer to sell. You need to get it sold before it becomes food waste, which none of us want. So I think there's going to be a lot of communication in the supply chain from farmer to buyer so that we produce what is wanted and needed by the end customer in the format and in the volume in what they want, and not just farm and then figure out where we're going to sell it. There has to be an end-to-end approach. And that's what I really hope the kind of message that I've got across today. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Liswaniso, your closing remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Zulu. I think on my end, actually, what I would like to see is seeing that farmer who is in that remote area gaining more negotiation power in terms of when it comes to selling their produce. And that can really happen if we see more investment in terms of infrastructure in those areas that are not privileged at the moment. So, definitely as World Food Program, we are basically, I think we complement because of some of the projects that we've been running, such as the support to the local purchase initiative. So I think that's my take, and for sure, and we are hoping that more players will get on board, the private sector will get on board, and yeah, give more power to that farmer who is out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Patricia Mienga, your closing remarks.
Yes. Yes, I would like to sort of close by saying for the logistics and supply chain for any grower or supplier to work well and to work seamlessly, they need to be that close working relationship with the customer, because the customer needs to direct to what the supplier or grower should do. If there's no clear indication of volume requirements and the periods, that tends to cause a lot of confusion down the chain. So there is need for the customers to be forthcoming with concrete programs that the grower can follow. At the moment, there are a few customers who can do that. Some, they just come and go. So it makes it very, very difficult for a grower to plan. So if concrete programs can be done, I'm sure some of these logistics and supply chain challenges, they can be minimized, because there will be a good time to plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the panelists, for your time. And thank you very much for those who've joined through Facebook and those who've joined through the Hua app for joining this very, very interesting discussion. My name is Ballard Talezulu. I now hand over back to the host, who's going to now anchor us to the next or other sessions, Augustina Quaino. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining this informative workshop. I would like to thank our speakers. I would also like to thank all those who have been our viewers, both on Woover, Facebook, YouTube, and all other medium. Thank you so much. My biggest thanks goes to our speakers, Mr. Edwin Ribello for joining us, Ms. Patricia Moyenga, and then Ms. Chris Liswanisu. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us and sharing such inspiring information with us. And our able facilitator, Mr. Ballard Zulu. Thank you so much. So participants, please kindly go to the agenda of the Uber app and participate in the workshop evaluation post. My name is Augustina, and I've been your host for this workshop. Thank you once more.